Shalom Aleichem, Hebrew Torah 101. We're going to title this video, Does the Torah in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 2 predict the coming of Muhammad in the Quran? Now, before we get into this video, don't comment under my video calling me an Islamic phobe or any of the name calling. It's completely unnecessary. This video is for educational purposes. This video is to teach the truth of the matter concerning what this verse teaches and to take away all falsehood concerning what it does not teach. All right, one thing that needs to be understood is that the Muslims today who are continuing this teaching, they don't get it from the Quran, neither do they get it from their prophet, nor from the first three generations of the companions and their students. So this is what we call bid'ah. This is what we call completely making something up that doesn't come from the authority of what they call the Islamic, teachers. Which is why after this is dismantled, most people would say, oh, it doesn't really matter anyway, doesn't change anything or whatever the case may be. So that's going to be the excuse after the video, which is fine. Again, this is just for edification purpose to teach the truth of the matter. All right, so concerning verse 2, Wa yomer ya min Sinai ba, we zarah min seir lamo, ho fi'a me had paran, we ata meri babot kodesh mi meno ashdah lamo. All right, so what is this verse saying? Wa yomar, and Moses said, so Moses is the one speaking. Why? Because he is the one that's announcing the blessing, all right? And this is the blessing which Moses blessed the man of God, Bnei Israel, before he died. So Moses is saying God came from Sinai and he shined forth, or he came out from Seir to them, Mount Seir, and he shined forth, shot out beams from the mountain of Paran, and came the Meri Baboth, the thousands, or however you want to put that there, Kodesh of holy ones, Mi Meno, at his right side, Ashdah Lamo, a fiery law for them. One thing we need to understand is that this is not a prophecy. In no way, shape, or form is this a prophecy of Moses telling something that's going to happen in the future or anything of such. So what's going on here is Moses is telling the second generation all the places, or the important places, quote unquote, that God shown his revelation towards the people. So one location we have is Mount Sinai, another location we have is Mount Seir, or Seir, and another location is Mount Paran. Now, when the Muslims interpret this verse, they're right about one thing, and that's Mount Sinai, the revelation given at Mount Sinai, what we call the Torah, to Moses. All right, this is a location that God gave the revelation at Mount Sinai. However, they're wrong about Seir. They equate Seir to be where Jesus got his revelation, and they equate Paran to be the location where Muhammad got his revelation. So they read these as three revelations, if that makes sense. So we have Moses, Jesus, and then Muhammad. This is their core teaching. However, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look inside the biblical text, or the Torah, and we're going to look at each location. So we're going to look at Sinai, we're going to look at Seir, and we're going to look at Paran. And we're going to see all these locations is where the children of Israel journeyed throughout the wilderness, and God's cloud was, when he was giving the revelation to the people, stopped at these locations. So we're going to go through the Torah and show these three locations throughout the wilderness. All right, so right now we have Exodus 19 and 1 pulled up. If you're not familiar, the people of Israel just left the land of Egypt. Moses split the sea, and they're coming to Mount Sinai. So it says, B'chodesh hashilishi, in the third month, Leiset Bnei Israel me'eretz Misraim, that Bnei Israel came out of Egypt, Bayom hazeh ba'u midbar Sinai. And this same day, they came to with the wilderness of Sinai. All right, so now we're in the book of Numbers, chapter 10 and verse 12, and we have Wa'ithi'u b'nei Israel mas'erihim midbar Sinai. And Israel traveled according to their journey from the wilderness of Sinai, Wa'ishkon he'anan b'midbar Paran, and the cloud dwelled in the mountain or the wilderness of Paran. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about this cloud. So according to that verse, we have the people of Israel leaving Mount Sinai and then showing up to the wilderness of Paran. All right, now we have the last location, Mount Seir, and we are in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 2 and verse 1. Wanefin wanisa hamid bara derech yan suf. And we turned and we traveled towards the wilderness of the Red Sea, by the way of the Red Sea. Ka'ashin di beria as God spoke to me. Wanaso eth ha seir yamim rabim. And we encompassed, we circled around the mountain of Seir many days. All right, so we have the three very locations where the revelation was given to the people. Now let's talk about the other aspect of Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 2, where the language of shining forth from Seir and Paran is being used and why it's being used. So let's go take a look at Exodus 34 and verse 29 and 19. And it says, and it came to pass as Moses came down from Mount Sinai, and the two tablets of the testimony in the hand of Moses, as he went down from the mountain, Moses did not know that his face, the skin on his face was shining, because he spoke with him, because he spoke with God. So the skin on Moses' face is literally shining. And Aaron and all of the sons of Israel were afraid of Moses, because indeed the skin on his face, it was shining. So they were scared. How did he get this radiance? Because the radiance that came from the cloud as you spoke to God face to face to receive the testimonies. So this cloud has a purpose, all right? And in Exodus 13, in the verse 21, the purpose is made known. And it says, God went before the people in the daytime in the pillar of a cloud to guide them along the way. And at the nighttime, Halayla, in the pillar of a fire, to lay ha'ir, to give light for them, to go day and night. So this is the whole purpose of the cloud. And the cloud did not depart, the pillar of cloud did not depart in the day, and the pillar of the fire by night before the people. So the cloud stayed upon the people. All right, that kind of wraps everything up, not to be too long-winded. Jesus never received any revelation or book at Mount Seir. Jesus was a Jew. Jesus taught from the Torah. That was his whole duty and obligation if he was going to be the Messiah anyway. And there is no proof or evidence of Muhammad receiving any revelation at Mount Paran either. So this is all conjecture and again, bid'ah. And lastly, there is a reason when you read these verses in Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 2 that they're in past tense. Not that that's the end all be all, but we have proof and evidence of these events transpiring in the previous books. All right, so we understand that these are past tense events, not future tense prophecies. Shalom.